there we go. Well, welcome everybody. I'm going to wait another minute or two to get started with the slideshow. We have a workshop before our slideshow, but we might do that a little later in the evening, depending on when the contributor is able to join us. So Phyllis, while we're waiting, how long have you been shooting stereo? Oh, sorry about that. Wow. Well, we're thrilled to have you here, and as I said, I can't wait to show off your stereo photography. I'm just curious, how are you viewing the slideshow? Do you have a loom pad or a 3D TV or something like that? Oh, sure, like one of those mirrored viewers. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I'm sure you're getting a. If you get ambitious, let us know. We can help you with that. We do have a couple streams for 3D TVs, and yeah, I'm not sure if you have a YouTube app on your TV. If not, you can, yeah, it's something to look into. Welcome, Melinda. All right. All right, well, I'm going to suggest we go ahead and get started with our slideshow. I don't have any announcements except to say that there were a few glitches at the last meeting. We didn't have the Anaglyph stream. That has been restored. And in fact, let me put the links in the chat. This is the Zoom chat. So that's restored. And also, I believe that at our meeting last week, there was an echo in my voice. Everyone else sounded fine. I think I have that resolved. We'll find out after the meeting. Before I get started, while we wait for a few stragglers, does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Steve, do you want to make a pitch for Thunderbirds? Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I will say that I first saw it on the giant IMAX screen, and I think that screen is actually too large for 3D. I actually sort of felt claustrophobic. I had a better 3D experience at the more normal screen that we watched the movie on Sunday, and I think that's because I had a clear frame, a window to gauge the depth of the 3D. With that giant IMAX screen, it was so all-encompassing, everything kind of went flat. I can't really explain it, but that was my experience. All right, let me start the slideshow. Oleg, we're going to start off with you. Let me share things here first. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the anaglyph. Let me try this again. There we go. So if you're following along on Zoom, my Zoom screen share, I'm showing the full width side-by-side stereo photos. On YouTube, we have a half width side-by-side and Anaglyph live streams of the slideshow. And the YouTube and the Twitch slideshow might lag 10 or 15 seconds if you're following along. Now, as I said, we have a wait. Sorry, folks, I don't think that shared correctly. Let me try this one more time. All right, almost there. Okay, I think we're good now. Okay, as I said, we have a workshop tonight. Wayne Carberg, who is going to tell us about these Andrew J. Russell photos, hasn't made it to the meeting yet, so we'll come back to these. He has quite a fascinating story to tell about them. And I think if this is working, Oleg, are you able to see Reservoir Hill normal? Okay, hang on a second. It looks like I'm having some more technical issues here. Let me try this one more time. Are you looking at it on your 3D TV? Hi, Jay. Jay, if you wouldn't mind muting. All right, let me try this one more time. Okay, there we go. Okay, Oleg, any luck? Are you able to see anything? Oleg, I think we lost you there. Oh, okay. Yes, I can hear you. Hang on, I think I'll have this fixed for you in just a second. Okay, I see what I did here. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. We will resume in just a second. How's that working for you now, Oleg? I think I've got it fixed. Yeah, we're picking up an echo. There we go. I think that's been resolved. Oleg, are you able to see your photo now? Great. Yeah, sorry about that glitch. I think I've got everything running now. Uh, we're going to call this a workshop. We have sort of a before and after to share. Why don't you tell us what we're looking at, Oleg? Well, let's take a look at that one. Hmm. I want to go back and forth 2 or 3 times just so that we can see the difference. I'll wait 5 or 6 seconds. Okay. I'm not sure if the live streams will be able to keep up, but we'll see what happens. It's amazing how, even though we would never perceive the space this way, somehow it all makes sense having this enhanced depth in the background. We'd call it extra hyper. Yeah, that's working pretty well. Well, thank you, Oleg. That is a fascinating experiment. Was there anything else you'd like to add, Oleg? All right. That's lovely. Thank you, Oleg. Jay, I've got one by you coming up next. You might need to unmute yourself. And the title is Aerial Mirror. And you use the mirroring tool in Stereo Photo Maker? Got it. Yeah, Jay, I don't know if there's a way to stop that. Okay. Well, I'll probably just mute you, but ask you to unmute. We've got some great photos from you tonight. Yeah, great effect. Thank you, Jay. Melinda, you're up next. We have Red Sky at Morning. It's a very comfortable hyper for me. Oleg, I'm curious, would you consider your Reservoir Hill with partial hyper to be like a creative? Not something you would do to your normal photography, but something for a creative exhibition. Melinda, I wouldn't say that, Oleg. You've been impressing us with your creativity for twice a month for years now. Well, thank you very much, Melinda. And Oleg, I'm going to put you back on the spot so that we can hear about Highway 101 north from the Nave Drive overcrossing. Are you using the same lenses that you use for your surf stereo photography? Right. Are you shooting through a chain link fence? Are you shooting through a fence, like a chain link fence? Got it. Great. Well, that's the idea. Well, I'm glad you're disciplined, Oleg, because that is the idea behind the specials, particularly this year, where our special subjects really focus on sort of stereo fundamentals. Well, very nice. Thank you, Oleg. Next up is one by Bob Bloomberg. As Phyllis mentioned, Bob may be joining us a little later tonight. He was actually on a flight home today, and I received an email from him about 2 hours ago from the plane, and of course he included a hyper, an aerial hyper that he took out the window just to show exactly where he was. So we won't be showing that one tonight, but he is bona fide as a hyper stereo expert. The title of this is Alcatraz Hyper. And let's go ahead if we have any thoughts, comments to share. Let's share them now. Bob might be viewing this slideshow later on one of the recorded YouTube live streams. And I don't know where Bob was when he took this. I presume an airplane or a helicopter. we'll find out more when he does arrive, or we can ask him at our next meeting. Yeah, I don't see any reflections or anything. It does look like the sun is pretty high in the sky. There's something of a bluish tint that I see, probably just the quality of light. I was just wondering the same thing. Um, I'm looking at the sailboats, and yeah, they don't look like they're floating or anything, any artifacts that you might see from a cha-cha. I'm I am guessing he was in a fast-moving aircraft, shooting out the window. Maybe he may have done some work on those sailboats too, of course. He's got a very nice through the window effect too, with that false frame. I am going to attempt to zoom in so we can inspect these white caps. Yeah, we've talked about that idea of a high res special. We'll have to explore that again next year. Well, thank you, Bob. Whether we hear from you tonight or our next meeting. Let's move on to one by Roberto. Roberto is also not here with us for the live meeting, but he may be watching the recorded YouTube stream or maybe even the live YouTube or Twitch stream. So let's give him some feedback. The title is Just Sunday. And what I know about this photo is that the base is 8 to 12 inches, I would say. He's shooting with two Sony RXO cameras, the little sort of cube cameras. And that's all I know. I love how they create frames to look through. We have the woman sitting in kind of the right frame, and in the middle frame, the two figures. But then in the doors themselves, the panes create their own windows to explore. Yeah, great. Well, Roberto lives in Mexico City, so you certainly can get the information from Roberto, but plan on a vacation. I love the way the depth extends into the far background. We can look down this corridor, and in the farthest spot, there is a person, a figure, which my eye lands on. There's, I think, Oleg, you said this is a very balanced photo. There's a lot of comfortable views for me. And I love the backlit tree on the right in the foreground. I agree. Could be cropped a bit, but it gives that luminous quality to the leaves, having the light shine through them like that. Beautiful. Yes. I'm zooming in on the feature that Melinda is describing here. Yeah, and you can, like the rest of this building, you can kind of see through it. We'll have to find out from Roberto exactly where this is. Just Sunday doesn't tell us a whole lot about this beautiful photo. All right, let me zoom back out here. Well, thank you, Roberto. We look forward to seeing you later tonight or maybe at our next meeting. Until then, let's continue to one by Steve, and the title is Animal House. Steve, did you zoom in with your phone to capture this, or is this cropped? It looks a bit telephoto to me. Well, I It would be great if the animals, the creatures, were lit up as well. That would be a very interesting photo. Wouldn't be as, might not be as spectacular as the rainbow, but a subject worth pursuing. Well, it's a very comfortable hyper for me. Very nice. I love the reflection in the windows too, and the house that's kind of in the middle of the frame, in the midground. Very nice. Thank you, Steve. Jay, I've got two coming up by you, and one is this is the courtyard entrance. One is the normal. One I think is the hyper. I think I got them in the right order, but we'll find out. And I can flip back and forth if you'd like. You'll need to unmute yourself and let me navigate to courtyard entrance, normal, extra, and I think this is pseudo. Let me fix that. The next one is regular. Jay, did you intend for courtyard entrance normal extra to be pseudo? I just swapped it, but I'm not sure if that was your intent. Take your time, Jay. Yeah, he's figuring it out. And here we are. So this would have been a cha-cha with multiple exposures to pick from. Yeah. Let's see the other one. I'm not sure which is the most hyper. Let's see. Second one is more. Yeah, so this is the uh, more hyper version. More hyper, yes. Well, it is a cha-cha. They look more like reflective. There's probably some retinal rivalry caused by that. Let me flip back and forth on these so we can see the difference. That'll give us an idea of the difference. It's amazing that our minds can process the sort of flipping back and forth between the two views. Yeah. Jay, I've muted you. Thank you, Jay. Sorry about that. Thanks, Jay. I've muted you for now. I'll ask you to unmute for your upcoming entries. I was just saying that I think it's fascinating that our minds can perceive these, flipping through these two versions without too much trouble. Well, thank you, Jay. Melinda, I've got one by you coming up next. And the title is Salesforce Hyper. It's an extraordinary view. I don't think I've ever seen the city from this perspective before in this way. I don't think it was quite as hyper. And tell us about the lens and the separation. It's remarkable. What was your vantage point? What was your vantage point when you shot this? And you used the shutter release. Do you have a tripod? Were you still holding the camera? You did have it mounted on a tripod. Got it. Is it the anti-shake, the stabilizer? Is it the stabilized? Yeah. Good tip. Melinda, you shot this with your DSLR, your Nikon DSLR? Is that what you have? Canon. It's a Canon, I forget. Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. It definitely looks like you know what you're doing. So keep it up, whatever you're doing. Yeah, remarkable. Can't wait to see more of these. Thank you, Melinda. Oleg, we've got one by you coming up next. I think this is the chain link fence I was asking about. This is Highway 101 North through a pedestrian barrier. Yeah, it kind of works for me. One thing I notice on the right is that there's more of a vertical misalignment in the links of the fence, or rather, there's more vertical misalignment on the left than the right, and that probably makes it more challenging to view on that side. Yeah, very interesting. Thank you, Oleg. If the chain link pattern was perfectly aligned, you could probably have adjusted your cameras so that the fence would appear to be exactly at the window, but there's just a lot of variation in it. Thank you, Oleg. Yeah, it would require a bit of measurement, but it'd be interesting to see what the result would be in an experiment like that. Yeah, thank you, Oleg. Our next one is by Bob, and we'll hear from him later. The title is Chicago Theater, and let's share our thoughts in case he's watching right now on YouTube or will be watching later. He's got great light on that Chicago sign, the vertical sign. And it looks like he had some cloud movement between these two exposures as well. Yeah, well, great exposure too. Yeah, beautiful light. Well, thanks, Bob. We look forward to hearing from you. Maybe later tonight. Maybe at our next meeting. Until then, let us talk about another hyperstereo photo from Roberto. And let's share our thoughts with him as well. The title is Sculpture. Is it a real cat? I'm really not sure. This seems to be the same location. Looking at the green window panes. What's that? Ah, indeed, yes. That's a nice contrast. Yeah, it must be maybe it's a recent renovation. It looks like a very light-filled space with all these windows. I'm admiring the cat's body. It's well defined for a black cat. You know, it the cat could just be a silhouette, but it looks like there's enough light in the space to give it some definition. It has some nice highlights. Maybe so, yeah. Well, and speaking of 3D movies, 3D movies often use a compositional trick that Roberto is using here, which you've already pointed out, Steve, having the floor kind of extend out through the window, and yeah, he could enhance that with a false frame, as you said. Give it kind of give it a false perspective. Well, Steve, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think we deserve fully 3D movies like they used to make for us. Like, like Kiss Me Kate with, deep focus throughout and cinematography composed for 3D. But you're right. This is what we get. We get 2.5D movies today. 2D movies with a couple 3D compositions for us fans to give us our money's worth. Sure, or Gravity, The Walk. There are occasionally we'll get a good one. That's right. Well, thank you, Roberto. We look forward to seeing you at our next meeting. Let's move on to one by Steve. L.A. Garden is the title. I'm sorry, L.A. Garden 1 is the title that I have here. Okay. The hyperstereo effect does make that tree look like a bonsai. It's kind of gives it that miniaturation effect, sort of scales it down. Steve, is this the same park where you photographed the ducks that you showed us last week? Well, I'm just grateful you're bringing your camera with you, although it looks like tonight you have more smartphone cha-chas than you do Fuji W3 shots. I guess that's the nature of the special subject. Yeah, and the image quality is going to be better. Yeah, that's the real difference. There's a lot of computational processing happening the instant you take a photo on your smartphone that the W3 just doesn't know anything about. Right. Well, thank you, Steve. Jay, if you're still with us, we've got one more by you coming up next. I'm not sure if Jay is following us. He is present physically, but we can talk amongst ourselves. The title here is House. And this looks like a hyper from the holidays. I'm guessing somewhere in San Francisco or the East Bay. Hey, Jay. We are looking at House. Hey, Monterey. Well, thanks, Jay. I just muted you, Jay. By the way, I notice in the window there's a looks like a Christmas tree, and it looks like I can even see some depth through that window. I don't know about the rest of you, but it's hyper enough that I can see some roundness in that tree. Yeah, that would be a quick fix. Looks like it must have just rained or something. Well, very nice. Thank you, Jay. Melinda, this is Sausalito's sailboat. Hmm. Well, I think the results speak for themselves. So it sounds like you had your composition already in mind. You were already visualizing it before you actually took these photos. Is that the case? Okay. Yeah, I think that boat really does anchor the eye. It's an important addition. Yeah. And it kind of loses some depth without it too, just because there's really nowhere for your eye to land. Yeah. Otherwise, they get lost in the bay there. Hmm. Uh-huh. I can't wait to see where you take that. That's right. Well, it's great. Thank you, Melinda. I can't wait to see your final photo. You've definitely created some anticipation for that. I don't think so. Oh, all right. Well, thanks, Melinda. Oleg, is this a duplicate of the workshop photos that we saw? View from Reservoir Hill with partial hyperstereo? Okay. The difference is that this one has a border. Got it. Is there anything else you'd like to add about this photo? Okay. Well, the one thing that I'll say when we get to our poll, which is coming up shortly, this photo actually appears twice in the poll. I'll clean that up before we take the poll so that there's no confusion. But it'll be represented there. Does anyone have any comments for Oleg about this version with the frame? Well, thank you, Oleg. Bob, welcome. Hope your flight was smooth. Glad to see you. Indeed, yeah, you shared one with me, and it looks like you're going to share one from an earlier flight. What's coming up now is Manhattan Hyper, or rather Manhattan Hyper 2. I think we know where this was taken, but tell us what we're looking at, Bob. It'll pop up in a few moments. Yeah, indeed it is. You can see the bridge. Do you recall, Bob, if you did any color correction or that sort of editing on this? Aha. We had asked the same question about your Alcatraz hyper, which we looked at earlier, and we were remarking how clear the atmosphere was, presuming also you were shooting out of a window. A helicopter. Oh, wow. Hmm. Wasn't like a lenticular kind of print or something like that? Was it a stereo jet? Yeah, what a shame we can't make those anymore. Yeah. And you didn't have a window in front of you, so no but you survived. Well, we'll run by it again when we do our poll for you. Well, thank you, Bob, and welcome. Let's see. We have five more stereo photos for our slideshow tonight, and I just want to make sure that we give them enough time for review and discussion. After the slideshow, of course, we will do our poll, and then if we have time, we'll do um, the Andrew J. Russell workshop photos that were submitted by Wayne Carberg. If we don't have time, that's okay. We'll do them at the beginning of our next meeting. And in fact, I might prefer to do that because I'd rather have Wayne here just so that he can introduce himself. I do have his notes, but he's an expert. I believe that he saw our New York Stereoscopic Association presentation of the Andrew J. Russell slideshow. Or he may have been at the Internet Archive. But enough of that. Let's continue with our slideshow for now. Steve, we have one by you next. The title is Oakland Sunset. And it looks like you captured this just after some rain. Got some nice reflective surfaces on that roof in front of us. Of course, that palm tree is in front of the window, as is that lamp post. But it is hyper. It definitely fits. I think I'm. For what it's worth, I just did a bit of horizontal alignment on these. The tree is still through the window. It's a little less extreme, and I think we've got the that lamp post Now maybe it's still through the window a little bit too. I didn't want to completely put it behind the window because I think we would just lose too much on the left and the right. Just an experiment. Hope you don't mind, Steve. Manipulating your photography without your permission. Okay. Well, thank you, Steve. That sounds like a great creative experiment. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. That's much appreciated. Thank you for sharing the photo. Well, let's move on. Thank you, Steve. Melinda, you're up next. Let me just undo these changes that I made here. I think this is the photo you've been leading up to. SF from 532 Sausalito Boulevard is the title. And tell us what we have here. Melinda, I'd like to ask, how useful was Google Maps or Google Earth for you in finding this composition? Were you able to sort of visualize this shot or specifically or more generally? Yeah, I've had some very satisfying shots that I've sort of pre-visualized that way using Google Maps and Google Maps measuring tool to gauge how far away my subject will be and therefore how far apart my cameras should be. It's it's a very powerful tool for us. You've used it exceptionally here. Would you consider cropping a little bit off the left instead of having this like a 16:9 aspect ratio? Make it maybe like 4:3, well, not square, but I would try that. Well, I know this one will do really well in international exhibitions, so I hope to see it there. Any sort of landscape or cityscape or hyper stereo, this would do well in a lot of categories. Yeah, keep it up. Can't wait to see more. Well, thank you, Melinda. Let's move on. Uh, Oleg, this is your view up Tamalpais Avenue at an 18-inch stereo base. Oh, looks okay to me. But I don't see any blowouts or anything like that. And it's got great depth. Well, there is that no U-turn sign right next to it, so Maybe there's a story there. Oleg, I really appreciate how the traffic lights are sort of suspended in space and really add to the sense of depth in this one. And we can look all the way back to infinity here. Very nice. So you didn't paint any of these out? This is traffic stopped? Right. Right. Thank you, Oleg. Bob, I know you wanted to tell us about this, so I saved it for last. SF Bay Hyper. Was this not the right one? No, it is a bit soft. It is a bit soft. It's it's sharper in stereo as two pairs. Okay. All right. Well, show it to us at our next meeting. I don't want I don't want you to be dissatisfied with what you're exhibiting for us. So that said, we will conclude our slideshow for tonight with a photo by Steve. Uh, Todos Santos Plaza is the title, and actually that's the name on the archway too. I think you got lucky with the overcast sky. Lots of ambient light. You don't have any pitch black shadows. Might want to bump up the saturation a tad bit to compensate for those overcast skies, but it's very well exposed. And the trees really support the depth for me as well. This would have been in LA, I presume. Oh, I had no idea. I think you and I went to the old spaghetti factory in Tacoma, 3D Con. Yes, that's right. Well, thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. We're not done yet. I'm going to ask that you stay for a few more minutes. We do have our poll, and if you're able to participate, we're very interested in your feedback. You can participate on your computer using the strawpoll.com/ggss link. If you're using your phone or tablet, we've also got a QR code there that will load up the same thing. Please select your personal top three from the slideshow. I'm going to go through the slideshow again, just spend a moment or two on each slide. I will announce the title and the maker, and you can make your selections on strawpoll.com at any time. If you've downloaded these folders, I included a number of workshop files that we're not going to get to tonight. So we're actually going to start with photo number 8 in the slideshow. And I'm going to navigate there. And again, on YouTube or Twitch, it might take a few moments to catch up. And I will start in just a moment. The first image that we are seeing is Aerial Mirror by Jay. Give it another second. There it is. Aerial Mirror by Jay. Followed by Red Sky at Morning by Melinda. Highway 101 north from the Nave Drive overcrossing. Alcatraz Hyper by Bob Bloomberg. Yeah, I can see her hanging out of a helicopter there. Just Sunday by Roberto. Animal House by Steve. And we have two here. This is the Courtyard Entrance by Jay. And I'm going to land on the second version, the most hyper version of this. There's only one option in the poll, and this is the one that it refers to. Next is Salesforce Hyper by Melinda. Highway 101 north through a pedestrian barrier by Oleg. Chicago Theater by Bob. Great light and color in this one. Sculpture by Roberto. L.A. Garden by Steve. House by Jay. Sausalito Sailboat by Melinda. View from Reservoir Hill with Partial Hyperstereo by Oleg. This is the result of the workshop that he showed us at the beginning of the meeting. Manhattan Hyper by Bob. Oakland Sunset by Steve. San Francisco from 532 Sausalito Boulevard by Melinda. View up Tamalpais Avenue at an 18-inch stereo base by Oleg. SF Bay Hyper by Bob. We'll see an improved version of this in a future meeting. And finally, by Steve, is Todos Santos Plaza. Todos Santos Plaza is the title. And that's our slideshow. Let's spend a minute or two making our three selections. At the end, I will show the results. And while we are making our selections, I would like to announce that our next meeting is our June meeting. The date is Tuesday, June 3rd, a couple weeks from now, same time. Our submission deadline is Monday, June the 2nd. Our next meeting is an open division slideshow, so any subject goes, and I already have received some submissions from the group. Our special subject for the following week is hypostereo, whereas this evening's special subject was hyper with a stereo base greater than the average interocular distance of 65 millimeters. Next month's special is hypo, a narrow base, less than that 65 millimeters, to photograph subjects up close. And I suspect Melinda is going to take this one away with her red hydrogen one, but we'll see. Just give me a minute to make my selections. While we're wrapping this up, does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Well, unfortunately, we do need to wrap up the meeting tonight. Bob, if you'd like to make some comments about them at our next meeting, we'd be happy to do that. And we did share our thoughts while you were out, and you can see those on the recorded YouTube stream. There's a half-width side-by-side and an anaglyph. I'm sure you'd be interested in that half-width side-by-side. Okay. Thanks for waiting. Let me stop sharing the slideshow. For our YouTube and our Twitch viewers, you won't be able to see the results, but I will I'll explain them. And here we go. You should see my screen now. It looks like Roberto's Just Sunday will take what we'll call first place tonight. Melinda's Salesforce Hyper and Melinda's SF from 532 Sausalito Boulevard combined to make a strong second, we'll say. And the rest of the selections received 1 vote each, so I think that our favorites tonight are pretty clear. So congratulations, Melinda. Congratulations, Roberto. Melinda, I can't wait to see more of these hypers using your DSLR. Well, what you showed us was very impressive, and it sounds like you've got your gear, if not working 100%, close to it, and you've got that remote shutter. That's going to make a big difference. Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you, everyone. That concludes our meeting. I will see all of you next month. Looking forward to it. Great slideshow tonight, guys. Let's keep it up. Good night, all. Well done.